earlier this year when World War III almost broke out over who was going to go to the White House, right? I was kind of rooting for Trump, but because of personal superstitious reasons. You see, I tend to have bad luck during the second year of every president. During the second year of Bush, I was a teenager at the time. I had all sorts of trouble in my life. And I almost dropped out of school. I had all sorts of drama in my life at the time. Now, the second year of Obama, I was working on my PhD at the time, and I had dated a girl who had taken advantage of me financially, and I was spending all my money on her. I wasn't eating properly, and I got very ill. I was eating fish out of Lake Ontario. I was eating roadkill, and I got very ill. Now looking back at it, I'm very lucky I didn't catch some sort of infectious disease, right? Last year, we all learned what could happen when you eat animals in the wild, right? And then I got very ill, and I broke up with the girl, and I became very happy. I discovered that one can enjoy going out on a date even without the girl. That was a big lesson for me. Sometimes when I tell people my philosophy of going out on a date even without the girl, I call it my other PhD thesis, because that was a big revolutionary discovery for me while I was working on my PhD. Now, the second year of Trump, I also had some drama in my life because I was getting ready to propose to my girlfriend, and I was depressed about saying goodbye to my single life. And I lost the job over the depression. I got evicted from an apartment during that time. I gained a lot of weight. You guys might have seen me during my videos. I was binge eating and out of control eating disorders. What else did I have? I was a mess because I didn't want to give up my single life. And so I have bad luck the second year of every president, or more generally the first term of every president. I tend to do a whole lot better the second term of every president. The second term of Bush, I did okay. I got accepted into the school of my choice for my PhD program. The second year of Obama is when I started teaching at the university that I'm teaching at right now. So I was hoping that, I didn't start at the university, but I started gaining the connections that would lead me there. So I was hoping that Trump would get reelected and I'll have a very good next 4 years. I don't know why. I tend to do better during the second terms of presidents. And I'm just very superstitious. I know there's probably no connection between the two, or at least a very remote connection, right? I know that's the case, but I get very superstitious sometimes. For example, I know that every time there's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, that's around the time when I start to get lucky with relationships, right? So I don't know why. Every time there's a lunar eclipse, that's about the time that I start a new relationship with a girl. We had a lunar eclipse in January of 2018. We had one in July of 2018. That one I only saw remotely. It was halfway around the world. What else did we have? We had transit of Mercury in late 2019. We had, obviously the Great Conjunction. And all of those times was around the time that I asked a girl out on a date, or we hit a new milestone in our relationship in some way. And there's probably no connection, except for the fact that I believe it, so I go out and I make it happen, right? Now, my first day at my PhD program, I had to drive from my parents' home in Pittsburgh to Rochester, New York. And I was in a good mood, and I went out and I got a 12-pack of my favorite non-alcoholic beer. And when I got to RIT, I was in such a rush to go to the bathroom that I raced to the bathroom, and I was in such a rush that I made a mess on the floor. And I did relatively okay at my PhD program. Yes, I did get taken advantage of by the girl. Yes, I did have some troubles with student life and all that. I have anger management problems sometimes. Yes, I did get in trouble, and I almost got kicked out at one point. But now looking back, I don't want it any other way, because I still graduated, and I still have good people who give me good references there. So ever since then, every time I go apply for a job, I go move somewhere, or I look at a new apartment or something, I always drink a lot of fluids before I go there, and I make sure to go to the bathroom as soon as I get to the place. Especially if it's an apartment. I want to check out the bathroom anyway, right? So having an excuse to race to the bathroom is nice anyway. Or at a new job, I'll make sure to drink a lot of fluids before the job interview, and I'll go to the bathroom. It's a good way to break the ice anyway, right? It forces me to ask people for the bathroom, and I've done very well ever since I've done that. Now, my first year in college, I was going to college part-time when I was still in middle school, if you can believe this. My mom had taken me to meet the dean, and the dean had lent me this book on Calculus 2, if I remember correctly. And given that was my favorite subject, I took the book everywhere. In the bathroom, in bed with me, in the car, while I was eating. And I made a mess in the book, right? Spilled stuff in the book, dropped it a few times. It was a disaster. And my mom didn't want the dean to remember to ask for his book back. So every time we went to see the dean, we made sure to make it quick and get out of there. And sure enough, the dean never asked for the book. And I did very well in college. Yes, I know there were troubles, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And so my first day at the university that I'm teaching at right now, my boss had lent me this book, and now I don't want to return it, because I learned that if I borrow books and I never return them, I tend to do very well. I didn't destroy his book this time, but I just don't want to return it, and he never asked for it back. And so 2.5 years later, I still have that book, and I still have the job. And I know there's probably no relationship, but I hate to test it. Because if I return the book and then 2 weeks later I get laid off, I'll always regret returning the book, right? If I don't return the book and then I get laid off, well, I can always blame something else, right? Well, I guess maybe if my boss says that, because you didn't return the book, you're such a lazy guy, you're such a forgetful guy, you're fired, right? I guess that's the only case where I might regret it, right? But short of that, I can always blame something else, right? What else? But I get very superstitious about stuff like that. My favorite one is, I'm not superstitious about Friday the 13th, but I learned that people are, and the markets tend to drop a little bit on that day. And so every Friday the 13th, I'm always scouring stocks for good deals, because if people are panic selling, that would be a good opportunity to snap it up, right? Or in the case of Chinese stocks, I think they tend to tank on the 4th day of the month, because in Chinese, 4 sounds like death. I love the fact that 4 sounds like death. I don't get superstitious about it in my everyday life, though. Anyways, thought I mentioned some superstitions that I have. Thanks for watching.